Hey everyone, and welcome. So today, we're going to talk about something that, well, if you've ever bought a house, you know the pain. I'm talking about that incredibly frustrating, super expensive closing process. But a huge shift is happening right now, and it's all being powered by AI and a massive $100 million bet. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's just start with the question that I know has crossed your mind if you've ever even looked at a closing statement. Why in the world are closing costs so ridiculously painfully high? It just feels like this mysterious pit where your money disappears.
Well, the answer can be this: a pretty shocking number. Up to 10% of your home's value can just evaporate into transaction costs. Just let that sink in for a minute. That's potentially tens of thousands of dollars of your equity gone. For a lot of people, that's more than their entire down payment.
So what is creating this massive financial drain? Well, that brings us to what you could call the real estate bottleneck. Let's dig into exactly why the system is so incredibly inefficient and stuck in the past.
All right, so here's the root of the problem, really. The whole system is just this tangled mess of separate workflows and way too many middlemen. You've got this ancient, super complicated process that honestly hasn't changed much in decades. And yeah, every single person involved needs to get their cut.
And wow, this slide, it just perfectly shows the chaos, right? Just look at this maze. You've got your real estate agents, your lenders, title companies, escrow officers, attorneys, HOAs. I mean, the list just keeps going. Each one has their own process, their own pile of paperwork, and they all have to somehow talk to each other. It's a total logistical nightmare, and every single one of these steps adds more time and, you guessed it, more cost.
But what if technology could just slice right through all that red tape? Well, that brings us to the hero of our story today, an AI-powered solution from a company called Propy.
Okay, so this is where Propy comes in. They've built this incredible AI agent. The best way to think about it is like a digital assistant that literally never sleeps. It works 24/7 to automate all those annoying, complicated, and time-consuming tasks. No weekends, no coffee breaks, just pure, relentless efficiency.
And listen, we're not just talking about some simple chatbot here. This thing does the real work. It's constantly scanning emails, ready to kick off a new transaction at 3 in the morning on a Sunday. It's checking bank accounts for wire transfers. It's pinging lenders for updates. It's even chasing down HOAs for documents. It's basically an entire back office in one.
And this right here, this just nails the difference. On one side, you have the old way, a total slog, right? Mountains of paper, endless phone tag, and constant delays. Then, on the other side, you've got this clean, automated, and lightning-fast process. It's not even a fair fight, really.
So what's holding all this together and making it trustworthy? It's actually blockchain. Now don't worry, we're not going to get lost in the weeds here. All you really need to know is that it creates this super secure, unchangeable record of everything that happens. It's the ultimate digital trust layer that makes it all just click. Okay, so the tech is clearly there. It's impressive. But how do you get a whole industry, a notoriously slow-moving industry, to actually use it? Well, that is where their massive $100 million plan comes into play.
And let's be super clear, this is not just some startup's dream on a PowerPoint slide. Propy has already processed over $5 billion in transactions since 2021, and their volume is basically doubling every single year. They have absolutely proven that this thing works at scale.
And this is the magic number that makes their whole strategy possible. Their tech can slash the manual work at a traditional title company by up to 70%. I mean, think about that. That's a revolutionary leap in efficiency. Which brings us back to the big one, $100 million. And this isn't your typical venture capital for fancy marketing campaigns. Nope. This is a credit facility, basically a huge line of credit with one very specific mission: to go on a shopping spree. And their strategy, it's actually kind of brilliant. They're doing what's known as a roll-up. They go out and buy these old-school title and escrow companies, businesses that already have clients and cash flow, and then they just plug in their AI platform to supercharge them from the inside out. They even keep the local teams, which is a pretty smart move.
And they are not messing around. They are moving so incredibly fast. Just look at this. See that tiny little slice of the pie? That's the deals they've already closed. The rest of it, the huge part, that's their active pipeline. We're talking $75 million in deals they're working on right now in places like California, Texas, and Tennessee.
But this whole thing isn't just about making closings a little bit faster. The end game here is way bigger. We're talking about creating a totally liquid housing market. And I think this quote from Propy CEO Natalia Karyanova just sums it up perfectly. She says, "We're building the infrastructure layer that allows real estate to operate on par with modern financial markets." Basically, she wants buying and selling a house to be as easy and as fast as buying a share of stock. Just imagine that for a second.
So what would that world even look like in practice? Well, it would be a gigantic leap. Right now, maybe 4 to 7 million homes get sold in a given year. Their vision? Bumping that up to potentially 20 million. The whole idea is that if it's cheap and easy to move, you're not locked down. You can take that job in a new city without losing a fortune in fees every single time.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. What does this really mean for the future of home buying, for you and for me?
So, to wrap it all up, what are the big takeaways? First, the reason home closings are so painful and expensive is because the system is just old and broken. Second, AI is here, and it can automate a mind-blowing 70% of that manual grunt work. Third, Propy is putting $100 million on the table to make this happen everywhere, buying up old companies and upgrading them. And finally, the big dream is a housing market that's just better, faster, cheaper, and way more accessible for everyone.
So that really just leaves us with one last, pretty wild question to think about. With this kind of technology and this much money pouring in to make it a reality, it really doesn't seem like a question of if this will happen, but when. So I'll ask you, do you think your next home will be closed by an AI?